Hi, everybody. It's Elektra Yao, immigration attorney, entertainment law attorney, located here in New York City. If you guys don't know, I am the owner and founder of Yao Law Group with offices here in New York City and in New Jersey. Right now, I'm in my New York City office. We will be moving soon, which is very, very exciting. But I am back today to talk to you about the onboarding process. Once you select your firm and you have dove in or dived into beginning your O-1. So basically every firm is different. Every firm has different policies and procedures for onboarding a new client. And I think that it's important for you during the consultation, like we discussed yesterday, to kind of identify what the processes are of the law firm so that you feel comfortable and that you give yourself your best chance of success. Some firms might have something called a welcome email. Other firms might have other things, maybe an introductory phone call. Whatever it is, figure out what those processes are because it's the beginning of the relationship with the attorney. That's kind of going to set the tone for the rest of the O-1 journey, whether you're filing it in 1 week or whether you're filing it in 2 months or however long it takes you to file the case. So basically in our firm, once you decide that you want to pursue the O-1 and you've hired our firm and you've decided that you want to work with us, the first preliminary steps to establishing the foundation for your case is the introduction email. So in our intro email that we send to clients, I basically deconstruct the O-1. I break down the O-1 and its various components. I strip it down to the bare minimum because I want to make sure that every single aspect of the O-1 is something that you understand, because every single part of the case needs to be worked on, right? The technical areas of the case, such as, for example, the forms or the advisory opinion, and the substantive areas of your case, such as your portfolio, for example, how to craft the portfolio, what information to include in the portfolio, the selection of the agent. All of these things go into the introduction email, right? Following the introduction email, you will receive an email from us scheduling a strategy session and an orientation. So I know these words are strange. What's a strategy session and what's an orientation? So the strategy session is your time with me at the beginning of the case to really establish the strategy that we're going to pursue. What is it that we are going to work on? What is it that we are going to focus on? What is the niche that we're going to be developing and highlighting in your portfolio and in your testimonial letters? So that's your time with me one-on-one. We're looking through your CV. We're discussing and sounding out who are potential signers on your case, who you're thinking of reaching out to as your potential employers. That's all. Those are all strategic decisions. These are all legal strategy that you discuss with me during the strategy session. Following the strategy session, you get an orientation. And I know orientation sounds like, when you were in college or maybe when you're in law school or grad school or whatever, but orientation in our firm basically means that you are going to have a meeting with our head paralegal, who's very, very, very experienced working on O-1 cases. And she's going to explain to you the different processes of our firm and an explanation of the documents that we give you. So in the intro email, we also include a bunch of attachments, right, to kind of support the content of that email. And these attachments are going to be foreign to you. You're not going to know necessarily what they mean. You're not going to know exactly what information that we're looking for. But we basically make everything super clear. We write it down in the intro email. We include directions in our forms. And you also have an orientation, which is your opportunity to ask questions about those forms and to have your questions answered and anticipated by our head paralegal. So this is a pretty robust introduction to the O-1 in the sense that you're not alone on this journey. We don't kind of, all firms are different, of course, but it's not like, you hire us and then you're kind of just waiting. No, immediately after you get all of your materials, your intro email, your attachments, a scheduled strategy session with me, and a scheduled orientation with our paralegal, because we really want to make sure that you understand the whole process of the O-1. It is not an easy process. It is a complicated process. It is a confusing process. And what we aim to do is to make it very simple. We got a question from Instagram. Do you take VAWA cases? Yes, we actually are a full service immigration firm. So we work on all different types of immigration cases, including VAWA cases. We actually have several VAWA cases pending with USCIS. So yes, we do accept VAWA clients if they qualify for VAWA relief. So that was a very good question. So basically, like I said, for the O-1 and basically for every case type, for every client that comes to our firm, there's always the introduction email with the different attachments that kind of break down the information that we need to gather within the case, and we give you attachments and directions. I think that this system is a very, like I said, robust system that allows the clients to really internalize the information, but not only internalize the information, but have the ability to ask questions about the information that's required of them. So post welcome email or intro email and post strategy session and orientation, you might start to ask yourself, well, what do I need to do? What are my next steps? Now that I've hired a lawyer, now that I have all of this information, what are my next steps? What should I be doing to work on my case? Well, like I said, every law firm is very different. Every law firm has things differently organized. We are very, very, very organized here. So actually, at the bottom of my intro email for every case type, I actually tell you what you guys need to focus on. So there's no like guessing, oh, well, what do I need to give Elektra? What's the information that she's looking for? What's more urgent? What's less urgent? I've cut that analysis out for you. You don't need to think about that because I tell you exactly what you need to focus on at the end of the email. I give you a short list. I also give you the opportunity to of course digest that information, make sure that you understand it, but I still tell you what are the top 4 things that you should be focusing on post strategy session, post orientation, post reading the email, so that you do not get lost. Because when you're working on a case type with a lot of documentary support and very paper heavy and a lot of different components, think of an O-1 as like a car, right? You've got the motor and the steering wheel and all the different parts of a car that are necessary for that car to move forward. That's exactly how the O-1 is. You can have a very tight portfolio, a beautifully presented case, but if there is a technical deficiency, such as the missing of an advisory opinion, that case will not be approved. And it's very, very easy to not include an advisory opinion or to go to the wrong labor union or management organization and not get the proper letter. So, and again, like I said yesterday when we were discussing consultations, it's super important to ask the right questions when you're in a consultation to make sure that you're going to move forward on this journey with an attorney that really, really is experienced, that understands the trends, and that can advise you properly so that you can apply in a succinct way. There's nothing worse than beginning a case and like never hearing from your attorney. I mean, sometimes that happens, unfortunately, and it's not, it's unfortunate for the client and it gives a very bad reputation to attorneys, but there's nothing worse than that happening, which is why it's extremely important to select the right attorney and make sure that the processes of the law firm that you are going to work with matches your work style or encourages you to actually be the best version of yourself during the O-1 journey or during whatever case type you're working on, whether it's an immigration case or a different type of case. So yeah, we just got a question on Facebook asking if we are currently taking O-1B clients. Yes, we are currently accepting O-1B clients. This is actually my favorite case type. So yes, we constantly work on O-1 cases, whether it is a filmmaker or a visual artist or a gallerist or whatever it is. We have all different types of O-1 talents. So we got another question. I will post it. Pablo Strettel, a violinist. Thank you for asking your question. How much money on average is it going to be to spend in the whole process of applying and getting the artist visa? This is actually a really, really great question, and I have a very simple answer. Unfortunately, you get what you pay for when you're choosing to hire an attorney. So I'm located in New York City, and I've got offices, like I said, here in New York and in New Jersey. And I've seen O-1s go from $3,000 all the way to $20,000. So it really just depends on the law firm that you're working with. Of course, I'm not saying that a $3,000 O-1 is not going to be a strong case, but market value in New York City is a little bit different than, you know, the $3,000 figure that I mentioned or the $20,000 figure that I mentioned. I will say, Pablo, that the O-1, just like any other visa type or just like any other investment in yourself, is just that, is a business investment in yourself to be able to work professionally here in the US. It's the same with university. A lot of the times people are a little bit, you know, it's a little bit difficult for them to grasp the idea of, you know, paying American fees for an American university, but it's an investment in your future self and it's an investment in your career. So it will cost money. But like I said, here in New York City, I've seen O-1s range for legal fees range from $3,000 all the way to $20,000. Of course, filing fees are separate. So if you choose to expedite your case, that's an additional fee of $2,500 that you're going to be paying to the government. And of course, you have to pay the filing fee, which is $460. So there's a big range that I gave you, but here in New York, we've got many, many attorneys, 300,000 licensed New York State attorneys. Of course, immigration is federal law, so you can work with an attorney located in New York who is not licensed in New York. And of course, that number of attorneys goes really high, and that's why you see a range of prices going from $3K to all the way up to $20K, but that is a pretty good question. What you should remember, though, is whatever you choose to do, the O-1 and whatever you choose to do in your career is an investment, an economic investment. So like I was saying, for the onboarding process, you know, it's very important. You can kind of understand the onboarding process of a law firm based on your experience with them during the consultation. In the consultation, just like Pablo was talking about fees, they will most likely discuss whatever fees are necessary to pay for the O-1 visa. But I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this gives you a little bit of orientation as to how at least our firm works with O-1 visas. And I think that it's important to choose a firm that is as transparent as possible in terms of their processes and in terms of how they work on different cases. Because, you know, Pablo was talking about money. I always talk about life. This is, you know, this is your life, and you want to make sure that you're doing the best possible to secure the visa if this is what you want to do. So thank you guys for watching. We will be moving forward in a pretty systematic way in terms of the O-1. So tomorrow what we will discuss is we will discuss the first criterion of the O-1. We'll go through all 6 criteria, and then after we're done with the criteria, then we'll go through the technical requirements of the O-1, including the advisory opinion, and I'd be happy to answer any questions beforehand, or please tune in to my live every single day at 3 p.m. to discuss O-1 visas and EB-1A green cards. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow.